Ulonga tabati yada to ye kuma daifa. Inu to ye ko je love bipa. Oba tala, oba takutakun. Zongo eshu, ogun oya osun. Kini sheshe, tan she nile yo. O jalo jara.
Lafia, peace and blessings. Welcome to another episode of the African Spiritual Experience. I'm your host, Orisa Gbemi. What's good with your tribe? We're back for another one of these live streams, man, to get this thing cracking. In regards to the energy vampires, man. Supposed to get this one done, I think, like 2 days ago, but I had a couple of things that came up unexpectedly that kind of slowed us down a little bit, tribe, but I definitely wanted to make sure that we got this bad boy in today. So I want to give a huge shout out real quick before we get going to all the new channel members. Shout out to all the new subscribers. I think we're knocking on about 22K, man. So I definitely appreciate every single one of y'all who's joining the tribe and all the comments, all the feedback, all the love, all the support. Definitely want to give a shout out to all y'all. Shout out to the new Patreon members. Shout out to the new Ashe Tribe channel members on the YouTube channel as well. I want to give a shout out to y'all. Appreciate every single one of y'all. So I definitely want to get that love and shout out before we get this thing cracking, man. In regards to, today's presentation, I feel like there's so much going on right now that this one was, it was something that I felt like was very relevant in regards to like the timing and what's happening in the world right now with all the different things going on, whether it's the war, whether it's the AI, with taking over jobs and the marketplace and all kind of foolishness. I see we got meteorites hitting, I think, Cleveland, Ohio, 2 days ago, a day or two ago. So it's a lot going on, man, a whole lot going on. So I definitely wanted to put this one out here for the tribe to kind of tap in. And then we got another one coming Saturday where we're going to go deeper into this topic in regards to like exorcisms, because demons and spirits and hitchhikers, like those are all real things. So it's a lot of people, that will get exposed to a lot of negative energy, a lot of negative attacks, spiritual attacks, things of that nature based upon, the environment that we're in right now. So it's definitely a real thing that real people have dealt with in real life. And there are real, exorcists out there, real exorcists that have to perform real exorcisms to kind of help to remove some of the demons and some of the negative hitchhikers that kind of jump on to people. So that's a real thing for those who frequent any type of major crowds, any type of major like atmospheres where it's a lot of people involved, where it's a lot of people at, whether you're going to like a comedy show, or if you're going to a ball game, you're going to a concert, wherever you're going, if you're going to places where it's a lot of people, a lot of energy there, if you don't have the proper types of protections in place, it definitely can be something that you can, be a victim of these types of spiritual attacks from like energy vampires. So it's a real thing, family. So I definitely wanted to kind of chop it up with y'all and share this presentation in regards to this topic, because it's something I feel like is extremely relevant right now with where we are right now, this time and this place on the planet. So with that, I'm gonna go ahead and bring this bad boy up, and hopefully y'all can hear me once I get it on the screen. And then I probably remove myself just to make sure. But when it comes to this thing called energy vampires, right? So I did what we call a Harvard deep dive study into some of the causes and some of the effects of, what these things are called energy vampires, and what spiritual attacks and hijackings, emotional hijackings, all these different type of things that come into play in regards to what's going on, in these days and times. But it's something that, in the deepest of spiritual religions and spiritual practices, a lot of different types of spiritual practices speak about different types of energies that can attack. We have the modern spirits, we have in Yoruba tradition, we call them the ajogun. So it's a lot of different types of negative spirits that can kind of come into play when it comes to these types of conversations. But especially when you talk about like demons and people who practice witchcraft and sorcery and black magic and all that, crazy stuff. There's a lot that comes along with it. But at the end of the day, it's real. It's something that we definitely need to kind of take heed to in regards to protecting our energy and protecting our ashe. And so when it comes to this thing called energy vampires, it's definitely more than just a phenomenon. It's definitely more than just a metaphor. Energy vampire is something that we define as a person or, a place or a thing, more so a spirit that can consciously or unconsciously drain you. It can drain you emotionally. It can drain you mentally. It can drain you of your resources. And, a lot of it has to do with psychology. A lot of it has to do with like unhealed trauma, unresolved trauma. It could stem all the way back to childhood trauma, or it could even be ancestral. Sometimes we inherit negative trauma just from our lineage, whether spiritually or genetically. It's something that can kind of travel across dimensions with us as well, coming in and out of the world. So like I said, in the Yoruba tradition, we talk about this thing called the Ori, which is the mind's eye, right? We choose our Ori before we, incarnate to come back into the world. And sometimes, you could pick a positive Ori. Sometimes you could pick a negative Ori. It all depends on, what you choose and what you decide at that point in time when you're choosing your Ori. So it's definitely something that's a real thing. You know what I mean? So when it comes to the vampire part, like we see in real life right now, that there's a lot of, these beings and these deities like on the planet that are real vampires. If anybody's paying attention to or read some of the files that came out, the Epstein files, you see how there's a lot of cannibalism in there. There's a lot of people that were eating people. I think they said, I didn't read this, but I'm going off of what, I've heard, but I want to say they said Ellen DeGeneres, whatever her name is, ate her significant other. They said it had her, she had her often. I don't know if she offed herself, but she had her often. They said they ate her. But this goes back into, times of immemorial, man. Like even like prior to like the so-called transatlantic slave trade, there was people, eating people. It was said that the people who captured and, pretty much assassinated the honorable ancestor Nat Turner, they said that they chopped him up, ate him. And then this can also go all the way back to the Asarian drama. When you talk about the Asarian drama back into the ancient Kemetic days. So it's a real thing that, happens in real life, family. So I definitely want to share this particular, like I said, presentation with y'all, just to kind of tap in and share some insight on how to combat it, how to identify it and how to work through some of these energy vampire situations and attacks, in present day for that perspective. So the psychology today, speaks about these types of individuals who often, appear as charming, or they often can have sort of like this, cool energy or cool vibe about them, but at the same time, they got ulterior motives, running in the background. So kind of like those who have computers that, you're not actually on a computer, but yet there's programs running in the background. Like that's why I feel like some of these types of entities or some of these types of energies had that same kind of motive or that same kind of disposition in regards to the energy that they're projecting. And so when it comes to like a psychological frame or perspective on it, it's about measuring the emotional intelligence, but also like taking heed of your cognitive depletion and not allowing those types of things to drain you. So I'm sure it's a lot of us who have had jobs that before you even get to the job, you already turned up like, man, I ain't got time for nobody bullshit today. Like I'm coming here, I just want to get my job done. I ain't got time to be putting up with no foolishness. I ain't got time to be dealing with nobody bullish. So it's like, it's one of them things where you already know before you go into certain environments, before you go into certain places, you already know it's going to be some BS that could be, at hand or presently at hand that might try to come your way. So it's like you kind of prepare yourself mentally or psychologically before going into the moment. And so what happens when you deal with this, it's kind of like an attachment. It's kind of like a hitchhiker. Like, for those who have had pets or had dogs or whatever, and you've had a dog that might have got fleas, if you're walking through the yard or walking through the neighborhood and them fleas jump on them, that's how some of these negative spirits can jump on you. Like they can jump on you just like a parasite, just like a flea, and then they can feed off of you. You know what I mean? So it's like, or even if you digest, certain types of food, if you're eating certain foods and it's not cooked well enough, or it might not be cooked thoroughly, you can get worms, you can get hookworms. So it's all types of different worms, like pinworms, right? Those are all parasites, but spiritually, the same thing can happen. Like the same exact thing that happens on the inside of the body can happen, spiritually to the body, or it can happen to the auric body, to the spiritual body when it comes to like these types of parasites. So, and when that happens, it's usually somebody or something that latches on, just like that flea will latch on to a pet, to a dog or a cat. Like that negative energy can latch on to us spiritually. And so when we look at it, it's kind of like when you find yourself being exhausted, from being around a certain crowd or a certain environment, and then all of a sudden you just feel drained and tired because you feel like you've been drained or something's been pulled, from you. Or you can get like emotional, dysregulation, or you feel irritable, you feel anxiety, because we can take on the energy from different types of entities if they attach themselves to us, if we allow them to attach themselves to us. Like we can take on that same kind of energy that is projected. So it's like we got to have different types of mechanisms, security, security, I would say devices or security charms or security tools to be able to kind of defend and to kind of block, the bullshit that people try to send your way. So a good way to do that is to like work with different types of return to senders, or to have different types of charms, different types of crystals, different type of things that can create sort of like a barrier, or create like a, I would say like a force field, kind of like a force field that sets up like an energy grid or energetic grid that's a force field around you and around your aura. I know for me personally, I know like before I started working like with crystals and using crystals and carrying crystals on me, I used to deal with a lot of that. But I remember when I got certain types of crystals, I would put into my little medicine bag and walk around, doing my job with that. it made a huge difference in regards to what I felt like it kind of neutralized the environment and neutralized the different spaces that I was going into to kind of, you know, detach a lot of the bullshit and a lot of the negative energy that was trying to come my way. So it's definitely good to always have something to kind of, you know, keep up that defense mechanism and to kind of keep up that energetic force field to kind of block all that negative energy from coming. And so when it comes to the mind, right, you know, this is all something that stems from the mind and the neural system. Like it stems from the subconscious mind, and of course it affects the conscious minds as well. And so when we deal with that, it's about us absorbing the energy that comes towards us, right? It could be something that, you know, a lot of times it even happens with family. You know, inside the inner circle of the family, we deal with a lot of the projections and a lot of the negativity, or a lot of the drama and the trauma that comes along with family as well. And what happens is we can take on things that came from generations ago, but it can come, you know what I'm saying, and manifest within our lives, depending on the way, not only the way we live in our lives, but depending on the things that we're doing in our lives to alleviate dealing with some of these types of different types of traumas or different types of attacks. And so if you've ever had like an ancestral consultation where you got a divination from your ancestors or for your ancestors, and they were able to give you messages from the spiritual realm, a lot of times we can get that insight from our ancestors, and they can kind of give us the ability to know what traumas they were dealing with, to know what types of battles that they were dealing with while they were here in the physical realm. And then we can do things for them here in the physical realm to kind of alleviate and to like eliminate those attachments to those types of traumas. And so that's definitely a good way, I feel like, to kind of keep a lot of the stuff that can come with us, you know, ancestrally, or come attached to us ancestrally. Like we can get rid of that by doing the proper rituals and giving the proper offerings in order to sustain that ancestor or that ancestral energy from the other realm. You know what I mean? We can kind of make right for it here in the physical realm by doing whatever it is we need to uplift and to venerate them in the ancestral realm to kind of eliminate some of that trauma that came with us from an ancestral lineage perspective. So that's definitely one of the good things that we can do. And we had a dope call Saturday about how to honor and venerate the ancestors in the private community and the Patreon community. So that's definitely one of the things we could do. And then we could ask too. We could ask the ancestors to give us signs or to give us communication and to give us clarity in regards to whatever it is that they may need or want in the ancestral realm to kind of help eliminate and alleviate some of the trauma that could be attached to us, that can hold us into like bondage while we're here in the physical realm as well. So there's a lot of different ways to go about it. But the mirroring system is something that, if you look at life, right, and we think about everything takes place and happens in the spiritual realm before it manifests in the physical realm. So if we're looking at what's taking place internally, you can easily detect people who have a lot of stuff going on internally by the way that they act, you know, physically, like how they project themselves or how they move in regards to their energy in the real world, in the physical world. Because most times if you're dealing with some shit inside, it's going to project and come out to the manifest to the outside, to the outer realms. And then you kind of can tell and dictate what's going on in the inner realm. Same with like diet, like we know people who have a challenge with being overweight or being obese, or, you know, health conditions like high cholesterol, diabetes, things of that nature. That's a direct correlation and telltale to the things that's happening internally from the food that we're digesting, right? So if we're digesting bad food, then we're probably gonna have bad types of ailments that we're dealing with that's going to correlate and it's going to manifest into the physical. So those are all things that take place spiritually. I feel like it happens first spiritually before it manifests, you know, physically into the physical realm. So the same thing comes with peace and blessings, DJ Kiko. Same thing takes place with the when it comes to this energy thing, man. So it's definitely a real thing. And so when it comes to absorbing it, though, that's where it really gets crazy, because I know for a fact there's been different times when I went to different environments, and as soon as I got there, I could feel, you know what I'm saying, like that dark cloud or that dark energy where you could feel there's a lot of different things that really don't resonate with you energetically. I remember the first time I went to New Orleans, like it was crazy, because when I went to Bourbon Street, like the energy that I picked up there it was a lot, because it was very, very, very heavy energy. Very heavy energy. And we know that New Orleans is a very spiritual place, especially for those of us with melanated, you know, of melanated descent. But it's a lot to absorb and it's a lot to deal with when you're in, you know, certain types of environments. And then we also have some spots here in Central Florida I've been to that when I got there, it was a very heavy energy that was kind of very draining, I say, to say the least, in regards to like the different types of atmospheres that these types of things can take place. So when it comes to the energy vampires, like I said earlier, a lot of it results from unresolved trauma. It could be chronic either insecurities, it could be emotional dysregulations, it could be compulsiveness, and a lot of times when these things are happening, it's like having that internal struggle. And I know we all know the little good versus bad or the devil versus the angel on the shoulders, but that's a real thing where a lot of times I feel like we're having internal conversations, and sometimes those conversations can be from within actually, or they could be from external sources or external energies or entities at play that come in that try to get you to do the wrong thing, or to do the negative thing, or to do the thing that is not right intuitively, but you still want to go along with it anyway, whether it might be something that can give you like a short quick come up or a short quick benefit, beneficial in some type of way, whether it's financially or whatever it is, like lying to a female to try to get you some nookie or whatever the case may be. Like, those are all things that you make the decision in a moment, but internally and intuitively that it wasn't the right thing to do, but there's some sort of energy or some sort of entity at play that kind of coerced or co-signed you to do whatever it was that, you did against the better judgment of that higher self or that intuition. And a lot of times also, it's like when you have people who want to attach themselves to you, because, and this is something that a lot of people I'm sure can relate to, if you've ever had any type of job in leadership or any type of position as like a coach or any type of like a teacher or anybody who has a form of leadership to where you're guiding other people, you'll notice that. And if you haven't, I know you've seen it in the workplace, you'll notice that there's always people that want to latch on and kiss the supervisor's ass and, be sniffing up behind them, running up behind them, trying to get these little kudos, little brownie points and all that, because they're trying to attach themselves for nefarious reasons, thinking that that's going to help them to be able to benefit in the long run, whether it's with getting promotions or getting days off or getting raises or whatever the case may be. That's a real thing, and a lot of people do it, I think, unconsciously too. Some people know that they're doing it. Some people, I feel like they don't even realize that they're doing it, but they're doing it. So it's like, it's trying to skip stages instead of doing the work and doing what's needed to elevate, the right way. They want to kind of get the cheat code to figure out a way to latch on and try to, I guess, attach themselves to kind of get promoted in a fast, selfish way is how I look at it. But at the end of the day, usually it don't work out that way anyways, because I'm saying supervisors, they really don't be caring about all the brown nose and the ass kissing that a lot of people do to try to get an advancements in regards to the growth, or regards to whatever it is that they're trying to do. And then you got that ego. There's a sister who I ran across her page recently that had a dope presentation about narcissism. I'm gonna definitely see if I could make that connection to reach out and see if we can make a collaboration happen, because it was a powerful presentation speaking about narcissism and how it's all something that comes back to to the birth, coming back to birth, and then coming back to how we were raised and how we were influenced, or how we were, I would say, kind of conditioned, to take on this thing called narcissism. And it's a very powerful point of view and perspective that I saw. So I'm gonna definitely see if I can make that happen in the very near future. But when it comes to the different types of playing, when it comes to like the philosophical or the psychological aspects of this thing called energy vampires, a lot of times you start to feel like this sudden unexplained, mood swings or irritability, or, like different types of just like you all over the place, like you swaying like the waves, like it's something that we take on to the point where we won't even be knowing where it's coming from, but we feel it. You don't really know what it is going on, but you feel something's different. A lot of times that's somebody done put them hooks in you, boy. They done threw the line out and hooked you in and try to reel you in, to attach themselves to you, to start sucking that energy or start sucking your ashe, which is a real thing. And so then you got to start to think about the unexplained physical fatigue, where you're starting to feel drained, you're starting to feel like you just exhausted, and like, I ain't really do nothing. Like, why am I feeling so tired? I ain't even do nothing today. But how many conversations did you have? Like, who did you talk to in that conversation? How long did that conversation go for? What was the topic of that conversation? Was the conversation in a conducive state? Was it a conversation that was about construction? Was it a conversation that was about building? Was it a conversation about elevating? Was it a conversation about, rising up? Or was it something that was gossip related? Was it something that was, talking down on people related? Was it something that was destructive? Was it something that, it wasn't nothing that after that conversation you could take from it and feel as if, okay, I got something accomplished, or okay, I made something happen by this energy exchange. And that's a real thing, man. I can't tell you enough how real that is, because at the end of the day, it's like, if it's not building, if it's not going forward, or it's not going up, it really probably ain't something that's worth it. You know what I mean? Like, it's like one of them things. There's a quote that I heard, it's a powerful quote too. I can't remember where I heard it from, but it was along the lines of, if it's not going to be important in 5 or more years, don't waste 5 or more minutes, you know what I'm saying, stressing over it or spending time dealing with it, because it's not worth it. It ain't relevant. And then the other thing is behavioral changes. Like if you feel like when you're driving down the road, somebody cuts you off and you ready to turn up, you know what I'm saying, get out and cave their face in because they cut you off, you got to think then, like, okay, so what was it that really made that get to me to that point where I wanted to cave this mother, you know what I'm saying, cave their face in before something simple as cutting me off in traffic? Because more times than not, it wasn't that one thing that happened in traffic that made you want to cave somebody's face in. There was a plethora of several other things that probably took place that kind of was like a domino effect that kind of rolled up into that moment to where you want to do that, because of a bunch of other things that led up to that point that had us already on edge. You know what I'm saying? Like you might have gotten an argument, you know, with your baby daddy, or you might have gotten an argument with your baby mama or your wife, or your, you know what I'm saying, your husband, whoever, and then you went out and started driving and going wherever, and then all of a sudden now, because you have some stuff pop up at the crib, when you get out into the world, it's like now you want to take it out, you know, on everybody else and be ready to, you know what I'm saying, go off somebody else's head because of something that stimulated you from a whole nother situation or a whole nother dynamic, right? And that's where things like meditation come into play. That's where things like doing the shadow work comes into play. That's where things like grounding in nature comes into play. That's where things like going and sitting by the water come into play. That's where, if you have an ancestral shrine, going and sitting and speaking to the ancestors comes into play. Or even something as simple as doing like water gazing. So if you have like a goblet of glass water, you know, a glass of water, you can kind of just sit and look at that glass and just kind of look at it, and it becomes like a meditative state. Or even like with candles, you know, if you light a candle and you sit there and you just kind of sit at a shrine, or you could just sit in a peaceful environment and light a candle and just look at the flame of the candle dance. And then you can start to see, sometimes you'll see visualizations or things start to form within the flame. And matter of fact, I got something that I did a tribute to Malcolm a little while ago that I got to share with y'all, with the tribe, that you can kind of see in the process of the candle burning. You can see the incense raising and the smoke rising. You'll see how even the smoke itself starts to change and take form into different types of variations of like artistic shit, almost creation, man. It was dope because, you know, when you sit in that meditative, calm, still space, it gives spirit the opportunity to communicate in I would say uninterrupted, what's the best word to put? I would say in a streamlined, uninterrupted space or state, to where you're getting a direct download and there's like nothing else coming in between you and connecting with the universe, with spirit. And it's very powerful. It's a very powerful thing to do. So in a time like now, when we have all these different types of things going on, especially when it comes to, you know, the uncertainty with the jobs, the uncertainty with the bills, the uncertainty with this damn war, the uncertainty, you know what I mean, with the gas prices going crazy, with the food, you know what I mean? It's a whole lot that we got to make sure that we keeping our mind where it's supposed to be, keeping our energy where it's supposed to be, to not allow ourselves to take on any other, you know, foolishness that's going to kind of throw us off track or throw us off course in regards to what we got to take care of and handle, excuse me, while we're still in this this dimension, in this space on this planet. So some of the consequences, right, that come from dealing with these types of energy or emotional hijackings, or these spiritual or physical or emotional energy attacks, right, is like the cascade of consequences. And it kind of go right back to what I was just saying in regards to not allowing other things that had, you know, got us worked up or got us pissed off or got us frustrated, allow us to throw us off course with handling our business with whatever it is that we have to do. And it can happen easily too, because I remember back in the day for me, man, if I got pissed off, boy, that was a wrap. Like I'll be ready to turn up, knock everything over, you know what I'm saying? And I'll be that way for hours, if not for days. But it's like, I had to learn how to not allow that to happen, because then what happens is it takes away from everything else that I needed to get done, because I can't focus. You know what I mean? Like I can't lock in and focus on being creative when I'm pissed off and want to cave somebody's face in, or I can't focus on being, you know what I'm saying, creative when it comes to getting some work done because, you know, I want to snap somebody's neck, or I can't, you know, focus on taking care of, you know, children, or taking care of talking to youth, or, you know, whatever it is that needs to be done. You can't, well, me personally, I can't do that if I allow an emotional hijacking, or I allow myself to get thrown off track because of an emotional hijacking, or because of, you know, wanting to go there with somebody physically or even spiritually or whichever type of way. So it's like the more calm, cool, collected we can stay at all times, the more control we have over every situation and every experience at all times, especially in these days and times. Because a lot of people out there looking for shit to do or to say to try to get you to pop off. So, you know, they can kind of come at you crazy with any type of whatever the initiative or whatever their intent is. You know, it's done intentionally a lot of times. So it's like we got to make sure that we stay focused on keeping the mind's eye where it needs to be and keeping the energy where it should be and where it's supposed to be. So that way we control the Ashe and the power, because nobody can take your power away from you. Like, we can only give our power away if, you know, we allow someone to get us in that position where we don't keep control and keep that I would say like that calm, cool, collected mentality. So yeah, it definitely comes with a lot of consequences. A lot of time it has to deal with stress. And so there was a study that was done at the Mayo Clinic, I think back in 2021, that talks about, you know, the exposure, you know, to cortisol-driven stress cascades and the consequences that comes across the body. And so for those of you who are into like Reiki or who are into any of the type of, you know, spiritual, meditative type of healing, it's a big thing when it comes to that, because even when you come to like blockages, right, you can have a problem with a block or, you know, your neck or your back or whatever could be bothering you, but that could be stress related. And that stress could be caused from an emotional hijacking, or it could be caused from some sort of altercation that you had, you know, mentally or spiritually, that didn't have anything to do with your physical body, but because the energy, you know, got into a point where it kind of got to a point where it was aggressive, or it was, you know, something that kind of had you trapped. You can literally have energy trapped in certain parts of the body based upon the emotions and based upon the actions that we took. And it could be something you don't even have to speak on. You could just get mad and just, you know what I'm saying? And like, you could tense up, lock up your traps or lock up your back. Like, it's a real thing. But the good thing is, it's something that could be released if you have the tools and the wherewithal to know about going about how to release that energy. And meditating is a good way to do it. And then you could use the tapping method. Like, a lot of people know how to use the tapping method. If you got certain things going on, certain body parts, certain areas in the body, you know, you can tap on it and release it. There's a dope book that I wanted to share with y'all too in regards to this topic. I'll see if I can find it. But it's a very powerful book, and it speaks about how to release, you know, these types of blockages on your own, like how to release them and get rid of them, to, you know, get rid of that type of energy from manifesting within. You know what I mean? So I'll find that book and I'll share it with y'all. Try it. But yeah, it's a real thing. So it can affect us, you know, these consequences psychologically, physically, cognitively, and of course spiritually. And so the 5 different types of energy vampires: you got the guilt inducer, you got the victim, you got the critic, you got the drama, and then you got the empath. The suckers are empaths who, you know what I'm saying, they know you're empath, they know you got a good heart, they know you got a good spirit, so they want to prey on that and pounce on that and use it to their advantage to try to take advantage of it. So I'm sure every single one of us that's on this call has dealt with one, if not all 5 of these types of archetypes of energy vampires. So for y'all in the comments, if y'all can share one of them, you know, with me, if anybody, somebody might have dealt with one today. Did any of y'all deal with any of these energy vampires today or in the last week or so? Whether it was a guilt inducer, you know, somebody who weaponizes shame, or they weaponize failure, or weaponize any type of thing that happened in the past to try, you know, to use that against you to make you feel guilty. Like, you might not have made it to a party, or might not have made it to an event or a cookout or something that they had, and then next time you talk to them, like, they going ham on you, like, yo, you know what I'm saying, you ain't make it to my party, like, that's all manipulation. It's all manipulation, and it's all a way of people to utilize, you know, who and what you are against you to try to make you feel guilty, or to try to manipulate you so they can get something from you on their, you know, for them to benefit from. Lovely Chanel said the empath feeder. So the empath feeder, yeah, that's specifically they target those empaths and the healers, you know, feeding off of overgiving and guilt and anxiety. And I'm gonna tell you, this could work in it's like a double-edged sword too now, because you can have people, and I know this for a fact because I be peeping it, but I don't speak on it, but you can have people who are like overly complimentary, like they give you a whole lot of compliments, and they tell you about how good this is or how great this is, and how much they love this and love that, but all the while they really could be like, they really thinking in their mind, man, this motherfucker ain't shit. I can't stand this motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? But they'll feed you that, you know what I'm saying, to try to lure you in so they can then manipulate you to do whatever it is that they had their eyes on doing from the get-go. So you got to be real careful and conscientious. And I feel like a lot of us, if you tap into this channel, you feel and know when you're dealing with those types of energies, because it's a real thing. So you got to watch out for them people who are extra, you know, extra with the compliments, or extra with, you know, bigging you up and giving you props and giving you praise, because It's a real thing, you know what I mean? And a lot of times it be them same people who they waiting for you to fall, they waiting to knock you down, or they waiting for the perfect opportunity to run up on you, you know what I'm saying, and catch you in a vulnerable state so they can get what it was that they really came to you to get, in a way that they can either get it for free, or, you know what I'm saying, they can get it in some type of way that's going to be a liability for you, but an asset for them. You know what I mean? So we got to definitely be very conscientious in regards to who we allow in our orbit, and the amount of time, the amount of energy, and the amount of resources that we allow them to have access to when it comes to them being in your orbit, because that's a real thing that, you know, you really got to be tapped into self, and, you know what I'm saying, and attuned to you and who and what you are spiritually and energetically, to peep the game that, you know, a lot of these different types of energies or entities are playing in these days and times. So it's definitely a real thing. The lovely Chanel said the empath feeder. What exactly, what did they do? What did they, if you don't mind sharing a little bit about it, Chanel, what did they do, or what did they try to do? And it sounded like you peep game and you was able to, I'm hoping you was able to peep game and to not allow it to, you know what I mean, to manifest for them to get whatever it was they came to try to do or came to try to get. So if you don't mind, you can share that in the comments, and then I'll tap in on it. Sky Key said, yes, 100%. Yeah, it's definitely a game. It's definitely a program for sure. And I'm sure it's been, you know, other people that dealt with other ones too. Has anybody dealt with any of the other 5 archetypes of these energy vampires? The victim, the critic, the drama catalyst, the drama catalyst, boy, that's a real one. That is a real one, boy. We all done dealt with them drama catalysts before. I guarantee you that. I know for a fact, everybody, hell, if you've even been to daycare or preschool, boy, VPK, kindergarten, I know for a fact you've been, you know, in the presence of some sort of drama catalyst for sure. I got you. Yeah, lovely Chanel said overgiving the sob stories. Yeah, that's a real thing. And you could tell even with them. So those people who always have something going on or something's bothering them, or, oh, my back, or I ain't feeling good, or so-and-so did this, I ain't gonna be able to make it to work today. You got, you know, you think you can let me hold a couple $100, you know what I'm saying? Because I had to miss a few days. I done ran out of my sick time, and I ran out of my sick days, and I can't, you know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna be able to make it. It is crazy, man. I'm talking about, it's crazy work out there when it comes to that, because I've seen people who they'll get themselves to a point where they know they have people around them that they could either borrow money from, or they could borrow things from, or whatever the case may be, and they straight, like, they got enough dough to do whatever it is they have to do, but they're like, nah, I want more, but they don't want to work for it. So they're like, you know what, let me create this side story for so-and-so, and then see how much I can hit them for. You know what I'm saying? They might be like they lost their job, or they got a pay cut, or, you know, whatever the case may be. Hold on, family. They might try to, you know, manipulate the situation so they can come up off of you. And then all the while, you see them like another week or so, they done took a damn trip to Mexico. They over in Cancun chilling, you know what I'm saying, popping bottles and running it up. Like, you like, damn, you just told me you were down bad and you need to hold something. I didn't know you were holding something for you to turn up with, you know. So it's like, it's a real thing, man. It's some crazy work out there. It's some crazy work out there, family, for real, for real. Crazy work. DJ Kiko say, I attract the critic. I'm a great student and people be trying to boss me around. Yeah. But you know what, bro? Like, you gotta like you have to grant your Ashe the power that it is, and give it the permission to stand on business for who and what it is. Because, bro, you got different gifts. You know what I'm saying? You got different gifts, and you have different abilities that a lot of people don't have, you know. And the one thing I'm gonna share on that accord, bro, is like, I get the whole following suit, I get the being a student, I get, you know, being loyal to, you know, your house, and being loyal to, you know, those who may have paved the way or brought you into, you know, where you are. But at the same time, this is the most realest thing I could tell you. Nobody is gonna look out for or teach you or do more for you than you. Nobody. You came in this world by yourself. You're going to lead this world by yourself. So you and your Ori have the ability, the power, the Ashe, and the authority to do whatever it is that, you know what I'm saying, you feel. And you don't have to always think that just because somebody might have a title, or just because somebody might have this particular position, or whatever the case may be, that grants them any type of total, like, dominant authority over you. Like, nah, it don't work like that. Because at the end of the day, nobody's child of godness is more significant or holds more weight than your child of godness. It don't matter who it is, you know what I mean? And I know for a fact, because I've had to deal with that. You know, there's been people who I've worked with who were phenomenal teachers, phenomenal, you know, spiritualists, whatever the case may be. And, you know, there came to a point where I saw that there was this ego thing, or there was this narcissism thing, or there was this thing that where I felt like they was kind of moving like they felt like they was better, or like they, you know, I wasn't equivalent, or I wasn't enough, or, you know what I'm saying? Like I just felt like they was kind of moving like they were better, or that I didn't equate being equal. And that's one thing that I'm big on, because I ain't better than nobody else, and I'm not gonna allow nobody else to move with me like they better than me, because nah, you're not better than me. I don't give a fuck how much money you got. I don't give a damn how many titles you got. I don't give a fuck how many ceremonies. Like, none of that matters when it comes to life, because at the end of the day, you don't have to have money to be powerful. You don't have to have ceremonies and titles and all these different things to be powerful. Your power comes from within. Your power comes from the connection that you make with the universe, and you make with the ashe that you were blessed with when you got here to this planet, period. And that's where the true significant power comes from. Now, yes, there are ways for us to elevate it, or ways for us to kind of demonstrate it in different types of ways when we access different types of things, like accessing the communication with the deities, or accessing, you know, the communication and relationship with our shrines and our ancestors, things of that nature. It does accentuate that power, and it can be an asset, or be, you know what I'm saying, like an extra boost to that power, that ashe, but it doesn't necessarily mean that we can't do it without that, you know. And I feel like that's where a lot of us, especially in these days and times, you know, we get manipulated by people who have this, you know, allure about them, or people who have a certain position that they're in. And I feel like that's where, matter of fact, I was just talking to Baba Patah about this earlier today. It was either earlier today or yesterday. Me and him was talking about this, because I gravitate to, or at least I try to, the people who have the most humility, like the teachers who have not only the most humility, but the ones who don't make themselves or put themselves like head and shoulders above you. So when you deal with them, they don't give you that energy or that projection as if you're beneath them. You know what I mean? So that's why I love like a Professor Kaba Kamene. That's why I love, you know, a lot of the different elders that's come on the show and on the channel, because they still have grace, even though they got the resume and they got decades of, you know, internationally well-renowned master teachers and researchers, things of that nature. They still move with that grace and that humility, that, you know, they still got love for the whole collective, and they do the work to serve the collective. You know what I mean? And they don't put themselves above anybody else. Like, those are the people who I can rock with the most, because those are the people I resonate with the most. And I wholeheartedly feel like that's the same environment and the same people that resonate with this channel, because that's the way the energy has happened and has been projected from day one, organically. You know, just being authentic and just being real, like not looking down on other people, not talking down on other people, not making other people feel like you're less than, because I see that. I see it a lot too. It's crazy, because I've seen it recently on some channels, and I'm not going to speak on the channel and all that, but it's like people are bringing people on to me almost to a point to they just kind of want to, like, I guess, puff their chest to make them feel like they bigger and better than the next dude or the next female. And it's like, nah, it ain't supposed to be like that. At least not the way I move. I feel like we all supposed to move accordingly, you know what I mean, and be in unison collectively. You know what I mean? Now that we stand about it, we fall. There ain't no big eyes and little, you know what I'm saying, little eyes over here, and no big chiefs, and you know what I mean? Like, nah, everybody is moving accordingly. We don't have a bunch of big chiefs and little Indians. It's like we all Indians, we all chiefs, we all, you know what I'm saying, we all balanced accordingly. Like, we all, everybody who was an Indian, you had to, who was a chief, you had to be an Indian to be a chief. You know what I mean? Everybody who was a chief, you got Indian in you. Like, you can't just be one and not be the other. That's like the universe without the planet, or the planet without the universe. You got to have the macrocosm with the microcosm in order for the unison to take place. It has to be that way. So that's how I've always looked at it, because like I said, at the end of the day, nobody's child of godness is more superior or better than mine. And my child of godness is no more superior or better than nobody else's. It's all in how you tap into the ashe, the energy, the power within to navigate for whatever is best to serve for you. Period. That's just how I see it. You know what I mean? But Fairy God Bro says, now feeling like I'm surrounded by you say you feel, hey, you gotta remove yourself, man. Remove yourself, or you know, to the best of your ability, or definitely make sure that you have, you know, like I said, certain types of charms or certain types of crystals, certain types of I'm not sure if you was on earlier, but certain types of things that can kind of create a barricade for you, kind of like an energetic force field, to where you can kind of block and reject and kind of send back a lot of that stuff. And matter of fact, I love referencing the Black Panther movie, when T'Challa had got that new suit from his sister. I forgot her name. I don't know if it was Yuri, something like that. But when he went to the lab, when she was working on his suit, I think it was like kind of the beginning of the movie. And she had the suit in the lab, and she was showing him how this particular suit she had made, that the more it takes like attacks or it takes hits and it takes bullets or whatever, it doesn't do anything to affect him. It just absorbs. But then you can take that energy, he can take that energy from that suit and use it as he's being hit with it. He can absorb it, and then he can use it to transmute it. And then once he transmutes it, he can now take that power, reverse engineer it, and then send it back out there and shift it, you know what I mean? And use it for offensive, mechanism, or, saying like to support himself defensively or protect himself. So that's how I kind of look at situations like that in real life. I always look at adversity or, challenges and moments where, I might want to knock everything over and look at, okay, now what can I do to use this as fuel to turn up, level up, and take it to the next level? Because that's when I feel like I can perform at my best. Like whenever I deal with bullshit, I take it, internalize it, and I look at, okay, now what can I use? How can I use this fuel to take me to catapult to the next level? Like, especially when I play ball, like if it was somebody playing dirty or, just playing reckless or whatever, and they fouling or, talking shit or whatever, I just take it all in, and then, boy, don't mess around and get caught slipping, because I come down on the court the next, next couple possessions, I'm gonna try to bam on you, and I'm gonna bam on your head, and I'm just gonna look at you. Yeah, look like, yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just how I personally like to do it. Or if they go up for a shot and I get the opportunity to come over there and send it to the stands, like, man, get that shit out of here. You know what I mean? Like, that's, I use it as fuel, man, because that's the best way to do it. Because by using it as fuel, you stay in control and you allow yourself to make something out of that versus allowing that to make something out of you. And so it comes down to, I always look at, don't ever let the moment be bigger than you, because it can't be unless you allow it to. You be bigger than the moment. Take that moment and manifest something great out of that moment. And then therefore you are able to be the alchemist and transmute what looked at or might have been perceived as a negative, and transmute it by putting that alchemy to it and taking that base, whatever that fabric or whatever that base particle or whatever you want to call it, and then you transmute that mud and you turn it into gold. And that's what true alchemists, we have the abilities, we have the ashe, we have the power to do so. So that's definitely a way that, I like to look at dealing with, this foolishness that we call energy vampires. Oh yeah, you already know, DJ Kiko, but that's real talk though, bro, because like I said, some of the things that you have shared with me and some of the things that I know you've done, a lot of people can't do that. And honestly, they're probably some of the same people who, that coach and teach and raise you in certain different types of ways. They might not even have that ability. And I'm gonna say it like on some real, like for real, it sucks, because there's a lot of traditions where you have gatekeepers and you have people who see the potential in the youth or see the potential in the generation or the class coming behind them. And, they won't give you the full, coaching. They won't give you the full counseling. They won't give you the full guidance, because they don't want you to surpass them. They don't want you to be able to grow and to manifest into your maximum potential or your maximum capacity. So then they in turn will literally hold you back intentionally. You know what I mean? Like, they'll try to keep information from you. They'll try to keep opportunities from you. They'll try to keep connections from you. They'll try to keep you, being able to manifest or actualize the best opportunities or the best situations, or even alchemize those opportunities, because they see the potential that you have and they don't want you to surpass them, which is crazy to me. That's crazy work, because at the end of the day, I'm from the school of customato. Like, I want to teach you to be better than me. You know what I mean? I want you to be not only better than me, I want you to go further, because if you do that, then I feel like that signifies and that solidifies and cements my legacy. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, the quote exactly went by Customato. He said, "My job is not to train a fella and teach a fella to be champion of the world. My job is to train a fella and teach a fella to be champion of the world and independent of me." And man, when I heard that, I'm like, yo, that's dope. Like, I loved it, because it's very powerful. And that's a selfless, master teacher. You know what I mean? So it's a real thing. It's a real thing for sure. Let me see. Chloe says, let me see if I can still, if y'all can hear me if I change the screen to highlight it. Okay, can y'all still hear me, tribe? If y'all can, throw a yes in the chat for me if y'all can still hear me with the full screen, so that way everybody can see the full screen. Hopefully y'all can still hear me. That way I can share the full screen so everybody can see it, because we're almost done with that part of the presentation. Nah, I don't think y'all can hear me. Okay. Let me put it back in the other one. Okay, I was hoping y'all could have heard me when I was off the screen so I could highlight the whole thing. Okay, let me see. Sky Key 13 said, my Scottish father during the holidays always likes to remind me we are born in pain, live in fear, and die alone. Yeah, well, that's the thing. You know, he might not even know no different though. You know, Sky Key, he might not know any different. And that's the thing too, where, you know, I feel like we are and this is something that goes back to spirituality and to different spiritual practices. But I feel like when it comes to those types of things, Sky Key, you spiritually are probably you're probably the elder to your parents. You know what I mean? A lot of us are the elders spiritually to our parents. And I feel like, and then a lot of our children, if you have children, your children are probably spiritually more, you know what I'm saying, older than you are. So it's like the cycle, you know what I mean? The cycle of reincarnation. So you are probably a lot more advanced spiritually, energetically, or psychologically, you know, than your father is. So it's like you are probably tasked with the job of being able to teach and lead by example of how to not, you know, continue to exhibit that type of mindset or exhibit that type of mentality. And it sounds like you already have made peace with it by saying that, you know, by laughing at it because you took light of it, you're not taking it to heart and it's bothering you, right? So I would definitely take that as an opportunity and as a challenge for you to lead by example and to kind of like, you know, coach pops up and have conversations to where, and you don't even have to be like demanding he change his mindset or nothing. You could just talk to him in a state of giving your perspective or just sharing different ways or sharing different stories to look at, you know, how to kind of help him to kind of mold his mind into removing those types of self-doubt or self-limited beliefs, and then, you know, manifesting into a belief of abundance, manifesting into a belief of prosperity, or manifesting into a belief of having, you know, immortality or being able to develop, you know what I'm saying, a mindset or a consciousness that does have the ability to be immortal, because we really do. You know, one thing that leaves when we transition is the, you know, the spirit leaves the body, the soul leaves the body, but the body, yeah, that expires, but the spirit and the soul is immortal, it's infinite. Like it's never gonna, you know what I'm saying, transpire or just completely be gone. That doesn't happen. So that's a good way. I feel like, you know, you could use Sky Key 13, you know, to kind of maybe try to shift the narrative, to shift the mindset, to shift the mentality, you know, of your family, man, because it's a real thing. And you're not the only one. Trust and believe, you are not the only one. And damn near probably, if not everybody on the call, has dealt with that in some shape, form, or fashion in the past, might be dealing with it now in the present, and probably or possibly be dealing with it in the future. So you're definitely not alone with that, Sky Key. I look at it as an opportunity, you know, for a challenge for you to take that situation and create something amazing with it, create something great with it, and alchemize it. You know what I mean? Like use the ability and the power of transmutation and transmute that energy, you know what I mean? And alchemize it into, you know, gold. Peace and blessings. SCG, what's good with you? Sky Key says salt and black tourmalated quartz are yeah, those work good. A lot of the black stones and crystals do. Actually, a lot of them work good. I believe obsidian is another one too. I think that works for protection and, like, you know, rejecting any type of negative energy. But yeah, and Starborn 999 is definitely energy for sure. It's definitely energy. Let me see. Coco the Boss said that's literally what uromelanin. Yeah. Uromelanin is it's powerful. You know, and I think a lot of people get melanin confused. I gotta share some of the call with Dr. Valentine, because he broke down that melanin real deep in regards to like what it is, what it ain't, and then the different types of ways that, you know, it's utilized. But you know, everybody has neuromelanin, because melanin is like it's a vital key life force, just like the heart or air. You know what I mean? Like no matter what, you don't even white people of European descent, they have melanin in them. If they didn't, they wouldn't be able to see. You know what I mean? Like, so it's, you know, we all have it, but it's us with the melanated pigmented skin that has a much higher, you know, level of the neuromelanin, which is the more significant melanin. And that's the one where you start to see these people talking about like the people that are melanated that are disappearing, and, you know, all the children and the women that are going missing. Well, that's because that's exactly what they're doing. They're kidnapping them and taking and extracting the neuromelanin. And then for the women, the females, of course, they're using the organs. They're using the uterus. They're using the ovaries. They're using, you know what I'm saying, all the different key internal organs that play a significant role in the form of life creation. That's what they're doing with those organs. Like they're using them to try to create these humanism type of cyborgs that they're doing, or trying to give these billionaires and oligarchs and all these different nefarious entities, trying to give them organs to prolong their lives because they don't have the ability, you know what I mean, to live a life the way we do, because they don't have that thing we call neuromelanin. So it's a powerful thing, family, for sure. Oh, y'all could hear me? Okay, cool. Yeah, because I wanted to have the screen highlighted so y'all can see it bigger, because on my end it's a little bit small, but hopefully y'all can see it on your end. And then Chloe says, and then there's the combo guilt inducer, empathy feeder. Yeah. And those are the ones who weaponize the shame and the failure and, you know, and the dominance to try to keep you emotionally indebted. And then they combine it with trying to make you feel good. I tell you what, man, I love that. I'm glad you said that, Chloe. One of the things that I realized in life, and this is a new development for me personally recently, I'm not allowing people to convict me of yesterday's crimes. You know what I'm saying? If I made a mistake yesterday and I did something wrong that wasn't done properly, or I didn't do something when I was supposed to, or how I was supposed to, or whatever the case may be, okay, when I realize that and I see that I was wrong for that, I'm going to do my best to apologize for it or atone for it and make it right with whoever it affected, including myself. If I did some shit that I didn't do, or, you know, didn't perform at the level I was supposed to perform at, I'm going to apologize to myself. But I'm not going to keep beating myself up and talking down on myself, you know, the next day or the day after, or continue to do that. And I'm not going to allow nobody else to do it either. Because at the end of the day, we can't live in the past. The past is a past for a reason. You can't go back there if you wanted to. And if you can, you might want to create a time machine or create another version of the DeLorean, you know what I mean, and come up off of it and, you know, get compensated for it, you know, financially, or come up off of it to utilize it as a way for other people to, you know what I'm saying, be able to time travel. But at the end of the day, there's no way that, you know what I'm saying, we should allow people to continue to convict us for yesterday's crime or for yesterday's mistakes or yesterday's transgression. Nah, I ain't living in yesterday. I'm living in today. I'm living in today, trying to do what I can today to be better than I was yesterday. And I'm preparing to try to do what I can to be better tomorrow than I was today. And if whoever it is that situation was, if they can't take that and accept that and they're not at peace with it, you can cut it loose. You know what I mean? Or don't deal with them, you know, or put up, you know, feed them from a long spoon. You know what I mean? Like, give yourself space to kind of like let them acquiesce to your mentality and how you're going to deal with things moving forward. And if they can't do that, cut them loose, period. Cut them off. And if it's like family or, you know, blood or somebody that you have to deal with, then you can arrange how you deal with them. You know what I mean? You can love them from a distance, you know, and you can kind of remove yourself to get that buffer to where you kind of create that grid, like I was saying earlier, that energy or energetic force field to block the bullshit, to block the negativity from coming into your internal orbit and your internal space. Yeah, fairy god, bro. Yeah, that's a real thing, man. It's something that, you know, I hope we get over and get past like expeditiously, like very fast, because it's something that us, especially in the melanated community, have been dealing with for a long time. Is like dealing with that gatekeeping, that crab in the barrel mentality of wanting to hold other people back, hold other people down, you know, not wanting to see other people win. Because one thing I know for sure, the sun is big enough for everybody to shine under, period. There's enough money in the world for everybody to get to the bag, period. So it's like, whenever you're dealing with those types of people, it's always something more that's going on. And we spoke about it a little bit earlier in the presentation about the catalyst of like what causes people to become energy vampires. And sometimes they don't even know it, you know, unconsciously, you know, they could be an energy vampire. A lot of times they do, because they're very intelligent and very manipulative, but a lot of times they might not even know, you know, that they are. But it's one of them things that we definitely got to be aware of and make sure that we're protecting ourselves by any and all means necessary. Let's see, Miss Tyson said, personal feelings during a time such as this is irrelevant. We should be meditating, taking spiritual baths, eating clean, drinking clean, stockpiles, and at the time. Yeah, no, that's facts. I agree for sure. Yeah. I do feel like we still need to focus on our personal feelings though, because, you know, we got to be our best for ourselves, because if we can't be our best for ourselves, we can't be at our best for nobody else. So I do feel like we still need to focus on self, but not so much in a time where we only focusing on self. You know what I mean? Because it's definitely a time to be in a tribe, or, you know what I'm saying, like a group or some sort of connection, community oriented connection, you know what I mean, to have that sustainability and to have, you know, somebody to be there for you, to pick you up if you fall, or to be there for you, you know what I'm saying, to hold you down if you need to get up, you know what I'm saying, or to elevate you and push you up, you know what I'm saying, or push you forward if you're feeling stuck or feeling stagnant. So I do feel like we still need to focus on ourselves, but just not to the point where we're only focusing on ourselves and not looking at the collective. And whether we're talking about familiar, in the family or the community or in the culture or in the globe, like, we got to want to aspire to make a positive impact in all 4 or 5, levels and realms of existence, hell, even for that matter, like even like taking care of the planet, you know what I'm saying? Like making sure that we're doing right by Mother Earth, because she definitely letting us know that she's not dealing with a lot of the BS that's going on. So I definitely agree with you. I just feel like we still got to, take some time to kind of tap in and pour into self, though, because, like I said, if we can't be our best selves for ourselves, then who can we be our best for? You know what I mean? So we definitely want to take time to still, do those mantras, to do those, to do the, what do you call them? The mantras and the, damn it, what's the name of it? What's her name? Miss Mariana Segment was speaking about it when we were on the call. She was saying that she had stopped doing her personal damn it, what's it called? It's mantra, but it's another word too. I can't think of the other word of what it was she was saying, but it's like a personal it's a personal affirmation that we want to do. So yeah, affirmations work good, meditation work good, all that. But Miss Tyson, I agree with you. And then let's see, when we're discussing low vibrational frequency, yeah, that's facts. Yeah, even talking about it, yeah, that's why I don't like to get caught up in like drama and like gossiping. I don't want no parts of that, because my famous answer to that, man, when people ask me stuff that really don't directly relate to me or it's relevant, like, yo, I got enough on my plate. You know what I'm saying? I got enough on my plate. I got to figure out how I'm gonna get all this down and taken care of for myself. I can't afford to be taking on any main course meals or hors d'oeuvres or snacks or desserts from nobody else's plate. I don't want none of that. Like, I got enough over here I got to figure out. So, and even when I figure this out, I still ain't taking no more from nobody else, because I'm sure life's gonna put some more back on my plate that I'm gonna have to deal with. So that's a real thing, man. And it is real, because it's almost like teeth, like cavities on teeth. If you eat consistently and you don't brush your teeth, man, you're gonna have a whole bunch of plaque, rolling up and all kind of clutter and muck all stuck in between your teeth if we're not flossing. Well, I feel like energetically that's the same thing that's happening when we're taking on those types of energies and from other people, gossiping about other people and what's going on, you know what I mean, or what's wrong. So yeah, man, let me see. Oh yeah, you already know maximum rising. We got to do that by any and all means necessary, all day, every day. And that's real talk, man. Real talk, boy, for real. Nothing wrong with a tribe, but for me, I need to go within in order to do that. That's the way. Yeah, that's real. And I agree with you, maximum rising. That's what I was just sharing with Sister Tyson. Like, I agree with everything she said too, but I do feel like at times we do have to work on ourselves, and go in and work on ourselves within, because that gives us the ability, to be at our best and do, doing what we need to do for us. Because like I said, you can't, what they say, you can't pour from a glass if you don't have nothing in it to pour, so you got to pour into self first and know thyself, you know what I'm saying, work on self in order to pour in, and pour into nourish others. And so I definitely agree with both of y'all on that. And then to wrap this bad boy up, man. So when we talk about the framework, like liberating ourselves from, all these different types of the 5 main archetypes of energy vampires that we discussed, we want to talk about and think about non-attachment, right? We want to make sure that we do kind of like what Maximum Rising is saying, is to like make sure that we pour into self and that we, make sure we do best for ourselves, so that way, we can kind of do and pour into others, and to pour into the family, to pour into the tribe, to pour into the community, to pour into the culture, etc. But it's all, it's in those 4 major components of psychological, neurological, spiritual, and philosophical, So let me see if I can move that. And then if y'all can hear me, I'm gonna go ahead and pull this up as I wrap it up real quick to the whole screen. So yeah, when it comes to like the management and getting through the non-attachment and like releasing ourselves from these energy vampires, man, we definitely want to, come up with a solution by cultivating that non-attachment and not allowing the people, to be attached to us, and then to claim our energy sovereignty, to make sure that we kind of got that Buddhist anatomy, or that, that non-self, ability to kind of pour into self, but not necessarily make it about self, and to look in, like being the all within the all, or being the one within the all. So you can still be the one, but you still want to make sure that you tapped in and connected into the all. And so then that way, we can look at it from the psychological perspective and be firm on it and non-negotiable. Like, we all have to set boundaries. Like, boundaries, I feel like, is a form of mental health. Like, for real. Like, we definitely got to set boundaries no matter who it is. And shit, sometimes we got to set boundaries for ourselves. I know I do. with certain things, because if not, I'll allow myself to run amok, you know, and not have that, you know, that discipline that it takes in order to be somebody who's consistent and somebody who, you know, is working on a path of growth. I mean, neurologically, you know, when it comes to the mind, we want to have mindfulness, and that comes back to the meditation. That comes back to spending time with nature. That comes back to grounding, like putting our feet in the earth, hugging trees. You know what I mean? Like just going out there into the elements, going to the beach, going to the river. All those things help, you know, with mindfulness, you know, and then it comes into breath work as well, because these types of things disrupt, you know, and they mirror the neuron, you know, in order to keep a positive loop versus having a negative loop. And then, of course, the spiritual, energetic, that comes back to the ground and the aura cleansing, spiritual baths, like spending time in nature, Reiki sessions. Because in the Reiki sessions, that's when you can do the cord cutting, you know, and cutting the cords from whatever attachments, whatever type of vampires or whatever type of negativity that might be trying to hitchhike on top of us. Like those Reiki sessions are good ways to do that. And of course, you're philosophical. You know, you want to adapt to non-attachment philosophically as well, you know, and taking pride into your values, interests, and principles. And that's one of the things that we stand on our square with that. You know, the rest, I feel like it'll always kind of naturally, you know, gravitate. Everything's a gravitate, and the law of attraction to kind of bring and put the right situations, the right environments, the right people in place. That way we can have the right manifestations, crystallizations, you know what I mean, actualizations, etc. Like all the zations come together organically, you know, when we got the right philosophy or philosophical approach to the things that we're doing, and to not be attached to anything. You know, especially when it comes to things like drugs, alcohol, cigarettes, whatever. Like all those types of things also those are vampires, you know what I'm saying? Like they're taking away from the energy and the ashe as well. So it's definitely a lot, you know, to take in and to take on, but we definitely have the ability to make sure that we can conquer it all. So at the end of the day, family, that's the little presentation that I want to share with y'all in regards to protecting the energy. You know, and it's not about passive avoidance. It's about being active. It's about being disciplined, and it's about putting it into practice. And it's about the refusal to allow anybody else's, you know, unresolved drama, trauma, wounds, or bullshit to define the boundaries, you know, of our own consciousness. You know what I mean? And this is all based upon, you know, philosophical, neurological, you know, all types of different proven studies, you know what I mean, that speak to what this is all about when we talk about these things called energy vampires. So, you know, in conclusion, the convergence conclusion is, number one, the energy drain is neurologically, that's real. So we want to make sure that we're mirroring the neurons and the emotional contingents that make others distress biologically transmissible. So pretty much like whatever foolishness other people have going on, we want to make sure that we're not letting that come to us. We're not letting that, you know what I'm saying, be absorbed by us and putting it into our speed, you know what I'm saying, into our aura, into our environment. So, and then the other thing is we want to find out and figure out the root causes, you know, what causes these different types of wounds. And we want to make sure that, you know, we don't use it and let it be weaponized against us. And then if we need to, we can take it and transmute it and alchemize it and use it to, you know what I'm saying, weaponize to protect us. And I feel like that's where a lot of this working on self and knowing ourselves is definitely something that's extremely important, because by doing so, that's when we have the ability to be a transformer. And I'm talking about like some Optimus Prime type transformer, because then you have the ability to alchemize and transmute what people might try to send to you as an attack. You could fuck around and turn that into a power propulsion and create, you know what I'm saying, like your Merkaba, or create like a spaceship or a UFO with it. You know what I mean? And then now you take that same energy, that same negative ashe, you transmute it. Now you got you a craft that you can manipulate to move about through the universe. So it's a very powerful thing that we all have the ability to do, family. It's all about us tapping in, you know what I mean, and doing what we can do, you know, when we can do it, how we can do it, and then doing it because we know we can do it. And then once we do that, you know what I mean, that's us taking on and elevating the ashe to another level. That's when we become the super cells. That's when we activate, you know what I'm saying, that super cell or super selves, you know what I'm saying, to be able to, you know, manipulate the environment and to turn it into something that's a lot bigger, a lot stronger, and a lot better than whatever that those who wanted to oppose, you know, try to send your way. So with that, family, is my presentation on this thing that we call energy vampires. Yeah, boy. No, I appreciate y'all, family, for sure. Sandra said Mama Earth is speaking. Yeah, she's speaking through me. For sure. I ain't taking no credit. That's definitely something that you know, I give thanks for being obedient, man. Just listening to spirit, the gratitude, you know, for sure. Definitely. And yeah, them affirmations is real, for sure. Fairy God, bro. And then Maximum Risers, yes, indeed. Definitely appreciate you tapping in with us, for sure, for sure. Already know. Yes, sir. Appreciate you, DJ Kiko. I got a lot more coming, man, for the private community. I'm running a little bit behind with some of the stuff that I want to have done, but we'll definitely have it done and in there by the weekend. And then I'm also looking to lock in this weekend's call. I'm working on doing one this weekend as well for the Patreon. And for sure, you already know, your values, interests, and principles, Fairy God, bro. That's a real thing. The VIPs and values, interest, and principles. And Maximum Rising, you already know, you're welcome, family. Appreciate you, the love, the support all day, every day. Fair God, bro. Likewise, appreciate the love and support all day, every day. Miss Tyson, much respect for you already. You already know. Oh, you didn't get your kin number, Miss Tyson? Okay, let me give you the email address real quick so you can send me the email. Or if you're on Instagram, I could copy and paste my IG real quick, and you can send me your I just need your date of birth. If you don't want to share it on the live stream, then I'll, if you can email it to me or text it to me through the through IG. And then I know some people don't want to put that out there for the world, so I definitely get it. So here's my IG. If you have IG, Miss Tyson, and then I'm gonna share my email address. So if you want to get me I just need your date of birth, and then once I get that, I can send you your kin number and then like a summary of your galactic signature. So yeah, if you just send that my way, I'll definitely get that to you ASAP. Definitely have it to you by tomorrow. And then Reiki Activate, appreciate you already. Miss Edwards, I appreciate you as well. Okay, you got it. Okay, I got it. So I'll tell you what, I'm gonna do it for you real quick now, but still send me an email, because I'm not sure if I don't know if the summary that I'm gonna send you is gonna fit. I don't know if that'll fit in the comments. It'll break it up too much. So if you can send me an email, I'll send you the link to the overview of your galactic signature. But I'm gonna get you the kin number real quick now, and then I'll send you like a breakdown of your destiny cross, and then your the overview of your whatever your signature is. So if you can send me an email, just let me know that it's Miss Tyson from the channel, and then I'll get that to you. But I'm gonna get you your number real quick. Okay, so I got you. So your kin number is 258, and your galactic signature is a white spectral mirror. So that's what I got for you. I got kin number 258, and then your signature is a white spectral mirror. So yeah, send me the email tomorrow, and I'll definitely get you like a whole overview of it. I'll get you the Destiny Cross, and I'll get you the summary and overview of your white spectral mirror. But yep, 258 is the kin number, and white spectral mirror is your galactic signature. So yeah, I definitely get you the rest tomorrow for sure. But yeah, family, I definitely appreciate y'all for tapping in with me, man. We might come back tomorrow. I'm not 100% sure, but we'll definitely be back Saturday. I got one scheduled Saturday with Wuna. We're gonna kind of pick up from where we left off with this one, because this one I wanted to share just from more from like a educational, logical perspective. But when we do that one Saturday with Wuna, we're gonna go into a real life, like actual sharing experiences perspective, to where, because she's an actual exorcist, and she's had to literally remove demons from people like in real life. So that's gonna be a very powerful, interesting conversation. I've done work not exactly like that, but helping out with different types of things that I do. I won't say that I do the exorcism, but yeah, I do have the ability to help to remove or to eliminate demons or different types of negative, nefarious spiritual entities or energies that people be challenged with, based upon some different types of strategies that we could do to manipulate or to dominate or regulate or eliminate any type of negative energies or entities at play. So yeah, that's gonna be a very powerful, interesting conversation Saturday. I'm looking forward to that one, and I'm thinking I might try to run one tomorrow, but I'm not 100% sure. But either way, if y'all get that alert, you'll know, and if not, we'll definitely see y'all Saturday for sure. But yeah, absolutely. Fairy God, bro. Yeah, email me, man. Email me so that way I can get it all to you. But I'm gonna write yours down now so I can go ahead and get started on it. But if you email it to me tonight, I'll get it to you tomorrow. Or even if you email me tomorrow, I should be able to get it to you tomorrow too. So send me that, Fairy God, bro, and then I'll get it to you. And then yeah, and then we'll go from there. All right, but yeah, family, I definitely appreciate y'all. So I hope y'all enjoyed the show, the presentation, and then we definitely be back Saturday. Like I said, again, kind of like a part 2 to this one, but it's gonna be more from a lived experience, you know what I'm saying, type of perspective versus from the presentation perspective. So it's gonna be dope though for sure. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. And I'll give thanks and gratitude to all of y'all. So yeah, Fairy God Bro, shoot me that email, man. And then Ms. Tyson, you as well. I'll definitely get y'all the full the number, the Destiny Cross, and then the overview of your particular galactic signature. So I'll get that to y'all tomorrow too. All right, I got you, Ricky Activate. Yes, sir. So yeah, send me yours. Let me know your name, Ricky Activate, that you are Ricky Activate, so I know who I'm communicating with. But yeah, so I'll get them to y'all, family, and then I'll see y'all. I'll see y'all this weekend for sure. Maybe probably tomorrow, but if not, definitely Saturday. I'll see y'all. So this has been another episode of the African Spirituality Experience. I'm your host, Orisa Gbemi. Shout out to the tribe. Appreciate all y'all for coming through for this energy vampire presentation. So I'll see y'all on the next one, family. We out. Peace.
Ẹni tó gbàgbé ilé ṣàpò ìyàgbọ́ tẹ́ǹtì ẹni takísà ní tàtàn ò bá padà sílé anítìjàkọ ẹja lọ pé eégún mo sí ẹni gbẹ́rẹ́ ìpàkọ́ forsake not your ancestors and praise your